Construction workers began construction, thanks to teamwork. In an office where accounting was taking place, Levon noticed a black car pulling up just outside the construction site and went to check it out. Upon arriving at the site, Levon saw one of his workers being beaten. He told them to stop, but they refused, so he attacked them with a bucket of nails, blocking their every attempt to lay hands on him while fighting back. Afterward, he noticed some other men approaching him and pointed a gun at one of them, warning them to leave and never return, which they did. After a long day at work, he drove to pick up his daughter from an event. As he got his daughter into his truck, her grandfather walked up to him and told him he wasn't a good parent, calling him a killer and a dangerous man. However, Levon didn't care about what he said and got into his truck with his daughter. They went to a restaurant where his daughter expressed her feelings, saying she missed her mother, who had died a few years ago. Levon consoled her, telling her it was okay. The following night, some ladies pulled up at a nightclub, playing snooker and partying, unaware that they were being watched by a gang. After the party, the ladies helped themselves to a bar, still unaware that they were being followed by the gang. While one of them was in the restroom, throwing up all she had drunk, one of her friends got abducted and taken away. The next day, Levon arrived at his workplace and noticed police officers at the office. He curiously went inside to ask what was going on. Joe told him that Jenny had been kidnapped and needed Levon's help to get her back because he was a former Army veteran. Levon considered the monetary offer but declined, saying that life was in his past and he had moved on. Levon left the office and drove to an old friend's home, where he told his friend about the kidnapping and asked for advice on possible actions he could take. The next day, Levon visited Joe's home to see how he was doing and found him drinking and crying, missing his daughter Jenny. Levon encouraged Joe to be strong and promised to bring Jenny back home. Later, Levon went in search of Jenny, carrying her pictures. He visited the same bar where Jenny and her friends had gone and observed the sneaky exchange of hard drugs between the bartenders and customers. He continued his search and saw a disconnected CCTV camera. Moving on, he found a bead on the ground that belonged to Jenny. His suspicion was now obvious. Deep into the night, when all the customers had retired home, one of the bartenders was on his way home, unaware that his car was being tracked by Levon. Levon followed him to his residence, where the bartender began to smoke. Levon retrieved his tracker and then opened the door to the bartender's house, pointing a gun at him. The bartender surrendered, and Levon collected his gun. Levon asked the bartender, Johnny, where Jenny was, but Johnny denied knowing anything. Levon persisted, asking Johnny to tell him the truth about Jenny's whereabouts. Johnny still refused to give up the truth and continued taking punishment until he finally told Levon about the gang that had kidnapped her. Suddenly, Johnny's friends arrived, looking for him. Johnny screamed, alerting his friends to come and save him. Unfortunately, Levon had positioned Johnny in front of the entrance, and Johnny got shot mistakenly by his friend. Levon took advantage of the situation and killed both of Johnny's friends instantly. Levon quickly grabbed some cash and left the premises immediately. The next morning, Jenny was seen in a room, high on hard drugs. A car drove into where Levon had parked his vehicle, waiting. They got out and entered the building, where they saw the dead bodies and wondered why friends would attack friends. It turned out that the money Levon had taken the previous night belonged to the man in the suit. A cleaning service arrived and cleared up the bodies in the room before leaving. Levon followed them immediately with his car, tracking them after a long drive. They arrived at their destination, and while Levon parked somewhere far away and monitored them from afar, he later got into the building and attacked the boss. When the boss woke up, Levon interrogated him, asking for Jenny, but the boss kept talking about his connections and what his men would do to Levon. Levon got tired of his blabbing and released him, allowing him to fall into the pool and drown. Levon then began his hunt for Demi as his next target. The cleaning service once again came to pack up the boss body, before another higher-ranked boss arrived. The boss looked at the CCTV footage and says that the killer kills without fear, dumps money, and goes away. He then tells his two sons to find Levon. Meanwhile, Levon calls his old-time partner, who is into Drug Enforcement Administration Department, and asks him how he could get to Demi. His friends warns him that Demi is a high-ranked dude, someone he might not want to mess with. So his friend tells him a location he has to go to get connected to Demi. Demi arrived at the club bar and ordered for a drink, but meanwhile the lady who was in charge of the surveillance camera notices Demi was with a gun, guessed he was a cop. So she tells her colleagues to go check Levon. As the man approaches Levon, Levon secretly shows him a bundle of cash which he tells Levon to follow him. The man then introduces Levon to his boss, who asks Levon what he wants in Levon and also asks him if he was a cop. Levon tells him he wasn't and he was only there for drugs. So the head of the drug dealer asks him to empty his pocket, which Levon says it was disrespectful and thus caused all the gang members to round him up. Levon then starts by breaking of the men's hand, then one by one kept on beating them till he was about to use a bottle to stab one of the guard's head, but the boss immediately tells Levon to stop. The boss then gives Levon where he has to pick the drug and the time. The next morning, Levon arrives at the location and he gives them cash, in which they give him a phone. While driving, he calls the number on the phone and the boss tells him it was under the seat. Levon confirms the drug and throws it into the river. While Levon was investigating, he received a call from the drug lord telling him he needed to meet his boss, who was a high profile. Levon later goes on to meet the boss, but while he arrived, he was being searched before meeting the boss. The boss then requests for the cash, and just to confirm Levon's identity, he tells him to bring his driver's license, which he did and fine and clean. The boss then introduced himself as Demi and gives Levon the suitcase of drugs and also saying he would love to continue doing business with him. Levon got home in his toilet and wasted all the drugs in the sink. While Levon was making his research, he finds out there was a guy at the who appeared so many times videoing Jenny. He then tracked the guy using a GPS. And when he got to the location, he never knew he was seen from the CCTV, and immediately the person who was in charge called for backup. Levon then noticed that he was caught and immediately leaves his car and stole a bike, which the bad guys immediately chases after him. They chased him and started shooting at him, but Levon wasn't until he was double-crossed by another car, but still he escaped. The bad guys started shooting at him till he fell and crashed into a police car. So instead of the police to protect Levon, they and Ted was in support of the bad guys and knocked Levon out. The next time Levon woke up, he was in a van tied and questioned by the bad guys. So while they were trying to tie up his legs, he hits one of them, and as they try to hold him down, he takes one of their gun and shoots, but it hit no one. They continue the power tussle, hitting each other, but Levon eventually shoots the driver dead, and the car then falls to the brink of a river. Levon then shoots both of the bad guys and came out, and he then uses his legs to push the van off the cliff, and he watches as the van sink. Later that night, the two people Levon killed were the sons of the Russian mafia's high-ranked. He then immediately requests for an immediate meeting. In this meeting, they talked about Levon, who they called a devil, and how he assassinated all their members and also two of one of the bosses. They then asked about Demi, and they concluded he went into hiding and was requested to be looked for. Demi was later seen at the club, but before the high-ranked mafia entered, one of his boys shot so many rounds up so as to speak to Demi alone. Demi is shown a pics of Levon and asked who he was. Then Demi explains in tremble that he was linked up with him by one of his boys. The boss then tells him that Levon was hunting him, and he didn't know, and they left. They went to make a background research and found out that Levon had a grandfather. Next day, as Levon's grandfather was having his morning yoga, he is surprisingly visited by the mafias. As Levon was driving, he receives a call from his daughter's school that no one has come to pick her up. He then goes to pick her up. The daughter says she has been trying her grandpa line, but she wasn't able to reach him. So Levon tells his daughter to try to track his grandpa, in which she says he was home. When they got home, the building was already on fire, so Levon tells his daughter to go nowhere while he finds grandpa. Levon sees his father on the floor struggling, so he immediately saves him. Levon's father tries to blame everything on him, but the daughter says he needs to appreciate that he saved him. Levon then decides to take his daughter to his old blind friend living in the woods. His friend warns him if he was ready to find the girl. He insisted he was ready. So the friend takes him to his old garage where he stores so many of his ammunition. He tells him to take whatever he needed for his preparation. Before Levon left, he promises his daughter he would come back her. Meanwhile, while trying to move Jenny to another location, Jenny distracts the bad guys by reciting our Lord's Prayer, and they got pissed off and try to scold her. She then uses her legs to kick the two bad guys and escape. They chase after her, but could not get her, and this made the bad guys pissed off. Jenny ran till she saw a vehicle coming towards her, which turns out to be a police. The police drives her only for them to take her back to the bad guys. Levon arrives at where Demi was, although it was heavily guarded, but he started by using his knife to stab each man quietly without any sound. He got to a stage where he used a bomb to alert other men, which Levon started shooting all of them. He finally was with Demi one-on-one, but Demi threatened to kill his girlfriend if he make a move, but with Levon military experience, he shoots Demi in the middle of his hands. He then tells the lady to pack all the money and go live a good life. Levon then shows him Jenny's picture and asks him of her location. Demi tried to deny knowing Jenny, but he finally gives him the location in which they both went. When Levon arrived at the location, he kills Demi off while he prepared to attack. Demi slowly gets in by using his silent shotgun to kill some of the men. Meanwhile, the drug lord and his men has been hinted that Levon has gone Demi's main house to attack. They all ready themselves to go kill Levon. Slowly Levon moves in but was almost caught but hid in the dark. He then uses his knife to stab the two men in his way. On the other hand, Jenny was been readied for organ harvesting, in which the bad guys went to call the boss who was in charge. As he was about to cut Jenny open, Levon throws a bomb into the building, which disrupts what they were doing. Levon then smashes the door and the bad guys started shooting at him, in which he did same and kept killing more of them. As people rushed out of the building, the other drug gang arrived too and went for Levon too. A biker breaks in to kill Levon, but Levon smartly gives him a headshot as his bike crashes. Levon then continues his search for Jenny and kept on killing more men, but eventually he is confronted by the head of the drug gangs. They got into an intense fight, although the drug lord was more physical than Levon, till they used knife, which was Levon's expertise. He finally used the knife to stab him on the chest and in his neck. While going up and searching for Jenny, he hears a sound and decided to follow. He then jams the door open with his boot and then shoots one of them. The remaining two start shooting at Levon till they ran out of bullet and Levon entered and starts hitting him. His partner tried to intervene, but Jenny did well to handle her well. Levon kept on smashing till he used his elbow to kill him off. Jenny, on the other, uses her legs to kill of the other gang. Two top-tier assassins arrived at the location to kill Levon. As Levon and Jenny tried to leave the building he was shot at, Levon then uses a camera he installed on his gun to kill of one of the assassins. As the other assassin was about to reload, Levon throws a grenade and he explodes. Levon and Jenny then leaves on bike while they are being watched by one of the mafia bosses. The mafia boss then calls the high ranks, where he was been advised to forget about the devil and focus on business, but refused and said he would avenge his two sons' death. The next morning, Levon brings Jenny back to her house and they were so happy that they both hugged her and Levon. Levon goes back to meet his daughter and his friend, where they were so happy to see him. Do subscribe as we bring you more exciting recaps.